Hello everyone, welcome to my channel again. Today I'm going to show you one of the projects. It's called the stock sentiment analysis. So before I go to the main part, I'm going to share with you some of the key points. First of all, this project is going to use the LLM, local LLM with LM Studio to analyze sentiment of the news. So basically it passes the news content to the LM Studio interface to get the sentiment feedback from the local LLM. And I think you should be cautious about the accuracy of the evaluation because later I'm going to show you some of the example that it may not actually make sense. And it is suggested that you can use other Python package to do another type of sentiment analysis. The reason I'm choosing the LM Studio is that I can use less complicated code to achieve this purpose of sentiment analysis, and also to consider my local PC configurations and the resource constraints. I think this might be more useful for me to do this kind of a test under the project. So basically, the first several tests, I tested around 100 news. It worked. Then I tried to expand to like 10,000 news. At that moment, my machine got stuck. I already saw the machine analyzed like 4,000 news, but I canceled it. Okay, because it took almost like 20 or 30 minutes. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Then, like I said, if you want to test a larger sample of the news, you have two strategies. One is to actually configure the Gnews package to get the news you really want and to pay attention to those configurations of the news, not in a broader sense the general search results. Right? There are many ways you can confront a more broad search range and to get a more accurate results. But in any case, whenever your data you want to analyze gets bigger, you need eventually more resources to compute, either from getting the data or passing this data to LM Studio to do the calculation. And of course, the later story about how the local large language model works. You can see there are many comparisons about the local models, and the more complicated one, of course, it will take more resources. The second point is that I tried to use Autogen agent method and the direct LM Studio chat mode. The reason I wanted to use Autogen agent mode is that I want to use it to get the sentiment score, and in the future I can also interact with other agents to make the project more robust. Okay, to let the agents to interact with each other. However, I only succeeded one time to successfully store the sentiment wording, the result, in a local file. In the future, I'm going to explore this point, but at this point, after several iterations, I lost track of it and cannot store correctly the sentiment word. So the final version of this project, you are going to see that I use the LM Studio chat mode to directly chat with the model to get the sentiment label. The third part is about Python application structure. I would suggest to do the progressive building of any Python application because the single file test and is much easier than testing the whole bunch of Python files, which I did, and I lost a lot of time for several days, and the result is not very good. So eventually, the final version of the project. Later, I'm going to show you. You're going to see all the Python files can be run independently, um, and you are going to see the interaction of the files. The last point is about the packages. The Gnews packages in the Python is very useful to get the Google search results. I suggest you to try it because what I'm doing here is trying to avoid a costly API, either from GPT-4 or from the news source, because I only want to test an idea. I would like to use the cost saving version to test my ideas. So without further ado, let's come. First of all, let me show you the results. Okay, so basically, uh, I use a Python code to gather information of the news, uh, assign the sentiment label, then save it in local environment as a CSV file, then use another Python file to display it, okay, to show uh, the trend graph of this data. So this first one is daily sentiment counts. They will count the positive, neutral, and negative sentiments, labeled news, and the total. And then you can see the peak. For example, this one, as of May 2nd, 2024. You see we have positive 89 positive news to neutral, 0 negative. So in total, you see the height is 91. Okay, is a time series stacked graph. If we kind of summarize it to weekly, you're going to see the graph will be more smooth, because usually if we are going to see 1 week, it is not it is less probable that in each day we have 0 positive or 0 negative news, okay, for each interval for each week. And eventually I also put the stock price of the stock I analyzed, because the news I search is based on the ticker, based on the label of the stock AAPL, for example Apple. So in this way you can see the news correlation with stock price. We'll zoom in here because what I have is until this time point about the news I analyze, and when you zoom in, you can see there are some interpretable correlations between the time series data. And of course, you can also use Python or the statistical software to analyze correlation and even do some prediction based on the data. Okay, but caution, I would like to mention and I want you to be cautious about is that do not only rely on only one information source, because we get the Google search results. We have the sentiment count of that specific stock, but remember, every analysis is biased. They have their own information source. They do their judgment about the stock. Um, yeah, but it's very subjective. And although they have multiple objective uh, data source or methodology, but we should always be cautious because news is written by people. People have their opinion, which most of the time could be biased. Yeah, so let's come back to the code. So now let's look at the code. So I change the name to complete local model sentiment, which is working. Yeah, it's a little bit mouthful, but I just want to separate it from the previous versions. Um, Basically, it has several functions. Okay, so the first function is actually to get the latest news. Okay, get the news and save it to a local CSV file. And the most important thing I want to tell you is that remember the Gnews, you have a lot of parameters you can configure. For example, you have language, country, period, dates, and so on. So most of the time, you will think about which kind of news you want and what is the range. Okay, there is a very clear documentation about Gnews in Python website. I recommend you to check it out. Just search on Google, you are going to get it. And of course, always remember that you understand the information you retrieved from the utilizing this package, because one you are going to spend a lot of time to debug if the file is not saved properly. Okay, so this is a file that is going to be saved in local environment. Okay, so until here, I actually saved one, two, three, four, five columns, which is the most important ones. And then you're going to see the last two columns as LLM response and sentiment. So the reason I leave it to two columns is I did some test. For example, if I want the LLM to give the sentiment analysis results, sometimes it will give me a lot of tokens, a lot of words, 50 or 60 words. Okay, so initially I wanted to further refine the result and give a sentiment label. So basically, if I have a paragraph, I'm going to do keyword search or even do more complicated calculation to give my final label of the sentiment. But eventually, that approach is too complicated, so I actually did some change in the prompt I gave to the system. So the system will give me a reply of the keyword I want. Is it positive, negative, or neutral? And because LLM, sometimes its response is not only the English words, you have some other signs and so on. So I just copied one of the reply format I saw, and to use it as an initial label. Then use another algorithm to do the keyword search, which will be more efficient. Because for the previous one, I either have this version, longer version with some symbols, or with a pure word. So either way, my search efficiency will be guaranteed. Okay, not like searching a whole paragraph. Uh, so let's come back to the main Python file. So then we chat with the local LM Studio. You can always see here, this is the chat mode I'm utilizing. So it's the simplest one. I'm not using AI assistant yet because I think the reply format will be much more complicated. And you can see each time the model will give a reply message like this. And because my prompt is very precise, so it gives us the content is very precise. You can see here, my message is that this is the message. You are an agent, a professional financial analyst, especially specializing sentiment analysis. Reply only 1, 2, 3 words. Okay, 3 labels. In this way, I just confirm. I just actually limit the output. So later I set the temperature 0.1 because I want more accurate. I don't want the system to give too many useless feedback or hallucination. Uh, After this, like I said, I extract the sentiment, use the logic to do the keyword search. Uh, yeah, if such word is in response. Uh, yeah, so you can delete here. Like I said, if you want to do a keyword research, okay, I did actually test two versions. This part is still the original version. I think the more robust approach is to delete here, and we are going to see that whenever the function meets the keyword, English keyword, it will give us the final result. Okay, because it will actually ignore these signs. So, uh, in the end, we're going to assign the stock label to APL to limit it to APL. If you want to use like a Flask application framework or other ways to build your local front end HTML, it is always useful. I already tried. It does not take too many coding. The issue is that whenever you do that, you need to make sure that your backend, I'm not sure if this name is right, okay, I'm still learning. The backend, the Python files are working properly. So here, I just assign the stock label and make the maximum page of the Google News as 10. So basically, either you set here the number of pages to 10, or you set the max result. The system will give you the minimum threshold. Like if uh, in the 10 pages you have 50,000 results, the system will give you back only 5,000. So always check these parameters, because sometimes you will get confused. Oh, okay, I have 10 pages. Why I only have one record? Because sometimes you set here maximum result only one. During the test, it's very important. I think it will save your time to test only one news. But when you put it into production, I always suggest you to check all the parameters to make sure they are right. And also the language, the encoding, everything is very sensitive to the correct result. Okay, so after running this part, the result is the CSV file, not only with the information we get from the Google News package, this part from date to publisher. We now also have the LLM response and sentiment columns. They are super useful for our next step. So I have three plot Python file. Most of them are similar. So I'm going to go to the most complicated one. This one is about plotting both the Apple stock price and also the sentiment count. So it actually first it will format some of the data. Like I said uh, before, for any data set, pay attention to the format, because the data format is quite long and complicated. We do not want to make it complicate our programming or result. So it's better to make sure that the date is uh, the format we want in order to plot it properly. Um, and always be careful that ensure indices match for plotting to align the dates. Okay. Also, I also want you to print the correlation. For this kind of statistical checking, you can always do it. I think it will give you more insight. But remember, every type of the data you need to be cautious to interpret it. And later is about the plotting part and also printout of the correlation, which I wanted to take a look. Okay, so usually if you print the correlation, it is in a PowerShell console. You are going to see here. Sorry, this is another type of statistical summary. For example, this is one type of the coefficients. Yeah. So anyway, let me see. Try to run it. Okay, this one, Python plot daily price. Sorry. Yeah, I think the display has some problem. Yeah. Okay, so it's faster than I expected. And you can see if you see this kind of correlation. For example, let's see the positive news count are negatively correlated with the price. Okay, either open, high, low, or close. It's very interesting. Uh, so basically, it says that the positive news count does not have a positive impact on the stock itself. So, yeah, it does not say that positive news is not helpful because, like I said, the interpretation of news in a numerical way is quite complicated. Although now we know you can use different ways of the numerical representation, but this kind of correlation you should interpret with more source. For example, if you really want to know which type of the factors are influence the stock price, do not only rely on the sentiment score. You can always rely on multiple factors. Okay, this is just to show you an example. And please note that the news I get from the Gnews package, either the sample size, either the type of news, the website I get, it is very random, so it may not be very precise for the type of news I want, for the trusted source I want. So there are many limitations here. Okay, that's it. For every detail of every code or for the HTML file, if you are interested, you can check later or pause at any moment of the video. I wish it is very useful for you. If you have any questions, any suggestions, just let me know. We are going to explore the different data visualization and processing of the information through the local large language model. We can always explore more possibilities and explore more use cases. I wish you like it and see you next time. Bye bye.